Good morning. I've never done this before, but I've seen a lot of people on YouTube do it, so I'm going to try it. I'm just going to do a video on what I've got growing in my yard right now, and mostly just for purposes of documentation for myself. And I'm really excited about some of the things I've got coming up. So here in our front yard, we have a bunch of hostas. This used to be a shaded area, but we've had some trees we've had to take down. So these plants are really rough looking, and I want to dig those up and replace them with something else. But here is a calla lily, and I think I bought that plant from Lowe's probably 2 or 3 years ago. So I just think it's beautiful coming up. It's just come up in the last few days. This plant I bought from Lowe's last year at the end of the season when it was on sale, and I can't remember what it's called, but it'll have purple on the ends of the buds, and it goes really well in a vase because it's nice and tall. And then over here I have I think these are phlox getting ready to bloom, and again I bought those at Lowe's last year at the end of the season, so they've done really well. And then the same thing over here, phlox with the calla lilies. I'm not sure why these calla lilies are here. They look just like the other one, but it was only one plant, so I don't know how it would propagate like 2 feet away from the other one. So I don't know if I had planted an additional one or not. But I really like this combination with the phlox and the calla lilies, so I think I'm gonna use the rest of this space to fill in with those plants. Over here I have some dahlias, and I'm really excited about these because I had planted these from seed last year from the Baker. I can't remember the name of it, but it's an heirloom seed. And since they were from seed, I didn't know if they would come back up this year, but evidently they have formed tubers and are gonna become a perennial instead of just an annual. And I've got these lilies. These are starting to turn yellow, and they've been in this stage for several weeks now, so I'm kind of concerned. I don't know that they're going to bloom actually, and I don't know why, because those are bulbs, and usually bulbs have the energy stored inside them to go ahead and bloom. So I'm going to research that today on the internet and see if I can find out why maybe that has happened, because those were really pretty last year. Here I have some peonies. I purchased these at Lowe's earlier in the spring. They were in pots, and Tim planted them out here. I think they'll do really well. This is a full sun. It gets morning sun all the way through the evening. So I'm really excited for these to keep growing, and they bloomed a lot this year, so hopefully even next year they'll have more blooms. Here's another dahlia plant. I just really love that yellow, the color of that yellow. And again, it was from the Baker heirloom seeds that I bought, so I wasn't expecting to have anything, and the seeds did form tubers, and so the plant came back up this year. So that's really awesome when you get something that you're not expecting. And here's another example of getting something that I didn't expect. I planted, I think, just a wildflower mix last season from seed, and these black-eyed Susans have propagated and just done so well. I think they're beautiful, and I love having a bunch of so many of them. So they came back this year. The other thing, I guess, was in the wildflower mix that I didn't realize was this sort of like baby's breath. I don't remember it coming up last year, but it is starting to bloom, and so I'm excited about that. I'll be able to use that as fillers in my bouquets. And then here's a poppy. The poppy was in the wild seed mix. Those are getting ready to, they're probably on their last stage of blooming, but that one's just really pretty. And I may cut that for dried flowers. I'm drying those. And then we also still have some bachelor buttons. So those have done really well and came back on their own. And all of these are pollinators. A lot of times I'll see bees back here and butterflies. So they're good for the environment too. I'm not really sure what that yellow bud is back there, that yellow bloom, but I think that's really pretty, and I don't remember growing that either. Okay, back here I'm just gonna show you, this is my backyard, and my husband and my nephew cleared out this space. This was all grass, and I put in various seeds and plants, and so now I'm going to talk about the individual ones. This was a raised bed that we put in, my first raised bed, and we had just originally put bulbs in it. And so here's this lily. It's close to 5 feet tall, but it's not blooming, and so I'm seeing that it's yellow at the bottom a little bit. So I'm kind of wondering if it's going to bloom this year. It's been like this for a couple of weeks, so I don't know. I'll have to research and see why. Maybe it needs fertilized. And then I had a huge number of bachelor's buttons with all the different colors. I thought those were really pretty this year. These are, I think, dwarf sunflowers. I put in a bunch of seeds and I didn't mark them, of course, so I'm not completely sure what these are, but they're growing really well. In the raised bed, I also had the seeds from California that my cousin sent. So those, the poppy seeds, and I think they're on about their last bloom, but they have just really gone gangbusters this year. This flower I grew from seed, and I actually started it in my hydroponic indoor system. And so I took the pot out and just planted it in the raised bed, and you can see it did really well. I did that with 3 other plants and they didn't fare so well, but this one really did well, and I'm not sure what the name of it is. Down here is a little straw flower. I think that's really cute. I'm not sure where that's coming from. There's not much else blooming off of it. Then I have a dahlia back here, and I also have some gladiolas. So you can see that gladiola is getting ready to bloom. I thought I had transplanted all of these out of here, but they must have multiplied. And then this is a Dusty Miller plant. I think I either grew it from seed or I got the small container of one last year, and it overwintered. This raised bed had a hoop over it, and it actually lived through the winter, and it's grown really a lot over the summer. There's some cone flowers. Those are perennials, and I really like the colors of those. Back there is a dahlia, and it has already bloomed one of its blooms, and it was really, really pretty. Here's another dahlia plant. And then back here, I grew this from seed. It's some kind of vine, but since it's got the brownish tone to it, it goes really well with fillers in a bouquet, and it will, it's a trailing plant, so it'll keep spreading. Here are some sunflowers, and I think I grew these from seed. I think I started them in a jug, in a milk jug, back in like February or March. So they're getting ready, hopefully, to bloom. Then back here is the main part of the garden that I put in. This plant is called a Dara, D-A-R-A, and it's actually going to be a chocolate color of a Queen Anne's lace, so I'm really anxious to see what that looks like. I saw these and I wasn't sure at first what they are, but I think that they're straw flowers and they're going to be like a copper color, so that should be really, really nice. Back here is, I think, celosia, and I got all 3 of these seeds from the Floret farm, and I've just really been happy with their seeds. This is a filler flower. I can't remember the name of it either, but it's nice and tall and it goes in bouquets really well. I grew it last year. This was started in a milk jug back in January or February. And then through here, you can see I've got a bunch of cosmos and zinnias coming up. So I just threw that mix together and just sort of scattered it, direct sowed it into the ground, and those are starting to come up, and I just think they're really stunning. Not a whole else going on over here. I have a lot of different sunflowers that I'm planting, some dwarf size ones and some tall ones too. Some of this I just got to fill in from a flower shop. Here I grew this from basil, or from seed. It's basil, so it's the lemon basil and the chocolate colored. I really like that chocolate colored, and I'll use it with the vine that I showed you over there with like an orange or red flower, and it's just gorgeous. And there's an up close of a zinnia. Looks like one of the little petals is missing, so I'll have to keep an eye on insects for that. Another view of some things I'm waiting on to bloom. This flower box, I really like it. Tim and the girls got it for me for Mother's Day, and I just went to the Amish greenhouse and purchased a bunch of these annuals, and it only cost me about $30. I think I would have got them anywhere else, they would have been double that, but they're really growing, and I just have to make sure that I water that frequently, make sure it you know, stays good and watered. And then down here I have some catnip. My friend I met at the flower farm in Evansville gave me this when I went down to buy some flowers off of her, and so it's coming up. It was only about, I don't know, less than half that size, and it's really starting to bloom, so I will use it as filler in my bouquet. And then here I'm really excited about this plant. This is going to be a frilly sunflower that I bought those seeds from the Floret farm, and I think in the pictures it looks really neat, but you can see the little things that are splaying out of it, and it's a frilly sunflower, so it'll look like it has like some little lace on it. I'm not sure what these are. Those were from some seeds I had, so I'm anxious to see what that comes out to be. And then my Sylvia, so I've had this back here for 3 or 4 years, and it's really taken off this year. So I just wanted to give a little update to my garden and what I've got blooming, because I'm pretty excited about everything, probably except for the lilies. And I was going to weed and everything before I did this, and I thought, you know, this is just how life is. It doesn't have to be perfect. In the garden, you just really have to show up, and you get benefits that you just never expected. So I hope you're doing well and having a good day, and I'll see you soon.